The problem. The unprecedented freedom of virtual reality presents a fundamental roadblock for the content creator. The ability to look anywhere, at any time, within the unbounded space that makes VR so exciting also makes the reliable and repeatable delivery of information nearly impossible. Before VR, we always had the structure of a frame to help us guide the viewer. The frame creates a boundary between what's in the story and what's not. In VR, there is no frame, forcing content creators to resort to gimmicks and tricks to redirect the attention of the audience. These devices
What's that?
are problematic
Look out.
for sustaining viewer engagement
Behind you.
for any length of time. Hi, I'm Johnny, a founder at Visionary VR. In the past year, I founded the Proto Awards, the first ever award show for VR, and co-founded the VR LA Meetup. I've spent more than a decade directing projects for artists like Muse and Belle and Sebastian, and clients like Apple and Facebook. The first time that I tried VR, I was blown away by how much more emotional it is than any other medium. Yet, all of my attempts to tell stories in VR were met with frustration, which led to a series of discoveries. Our solution: a purpose-built system for storytelling, which reimagines cinematic conventions for VR, starting with the frame itself, would allow you to deliver a consistent narrative experience that is controlled but not constrained. By placing the most important elements within this boundary, the content creator ensures that every viewer gets the same information every time. This includes all types of information, from facts and figures to narrative information and everything in between.
A boundary in VR is a dividing mechanism that lives within the space and delineates different regions of interest.
Introducing boundaries into the virtual world as a tool to divide the space and focus viewer attention evolves the fundamental concept of the frame.
Bringing it into VR and allowing the creator to show the viewer without having to tell them where the primary story lives within the larger world. The primary zone is the area which contains the central narrative. As the viewer leaves the primary zone and approaches a boundary in the virtual space, they are presented with sensory cues that inform them that the flow of content is about to change. Zones are aware of the viewer's attention and can therefore react when engaged.
By providing boundary sensory cues to the viewer, we reinstate their natural freedom of choice between the passive, the active, or any combination.
No matter where you are, your boundary options can travel with you, across cuts and transitions. You, as the content creator, decide not only the cues, but what's passive, active, or interactive in these primary and secondary zones, what happens in each of these spaces, and how they connect with each other. When you, the viewer, cross from the passive viewing mode, you can engage an active exploratory mode that lets you freely investigate the virtual world around you. Beyond just exploring, your actions in one zone can have an impact on the content of another. For example, a discovery made in an interactive area can inform and influence what will happen when you resume the narrative as a passive viewer. The system.
Visionary Focus is a software system that builds on these concepts, unlocking a whole new way to tell stories and deliver information, all from within virtual reality. Here's a sneak peek of our prototype in progress.
Fly around and set cameras. Karate chop to add and remove cuts. Stretch the timeline to zoom in for precision control. Animate cameras. Control the speed of playback with a wave of your hand. Adjust audio with your hands. Interact and edit in a whole new way. And as a viewer, experiencing content created with the Focus system, you gain an intuitive understanding of what's in the story and what's not. When you cross a boundary, the content pauses automatically, allowing you to explore everything the virtual world has to offer, without losing track of the primary narrative.
If you want to tell a story in virtual reality and know that your audience will experience its full impact, focus is the answer.
We're crafting a toolkit to let you tell stories from inside the virtual world.
Our focus system introduces a new set of fundamental conventions that will become part of the language of VR.
This is what we're building at Visionary VR, and we can't wait to share it with you. Visit visionaryvr.com to sign up for updates.